Hello, everybody, and welcome back to LRN, where today we're asking the question: does Max Verstappen get enough respect for what he's achieved in Formula One? And that could be from the fans, the media, or from inside the F1 paddock. And we will look at it from all three perspectives. If you are new around here, though, please make sure to subscribe on the bottom right hand side to get all of the latest Formula One fan content. So we're going to look at this through the eyes of the fans first of all, because he's come out and said that what companies like Sky, specifically Sky Sports, have been doing in their coverage in the UK, Germany, and Italy is essentially that their rhetoric around Max Verstappen has caused him to get abuse through social media from fans. And I'm assuming that's because they, again, maybe feel that Lewis should have been given the title the year before. And he's basically saying that the reason that they feel like that is because of what Sky is saying, and that maybe people are taking that way too far and saying things to Max, sending things to him on social media they absolutely shouldn't be doing. Now, first of all, if people are abusing Max through social media and saying things that are completely inappropriate, that absolutely should not be happening. So let's just put that out there. Absolutely, he should not be getting abuse through social media. Absolutely agree with him there. No question about it. But they will be a very vocal, very small minority of the F1 fan base. And I want to focus on the majority. And I think the majority of fans give Max an absolute ton of credit for how good he is as a driver. However, they will absolutely question him through whether or not he should have two world championships. And that does not mean, does his talent warrant having two world championships? Because yes, he's definitely good enough to have two world championships. He's definitely a good enough driver, but you have to look at the facts as they are. Should he have won the world championship in 2021? No. No question about it. I don't care how much of a Max Verstappen fan, as a Red Bull fan that you are. The rules weren't followed, and if they had been followed correctly, Max Verstappen would not have won the 21 title, right? Does that mean that he is that puts him down as an F1 driver, that we don't respect him as a driver in Formula 1? No, not at all. I think that he is arguably the best driver in Formula 1 right now. Of course, it's always difficult to have that debate unless everyone's in the same car, right? But he is, of course, a phenomenal driver. And I think most fans, any fan really, knows deep down that Max Verstappen is a brilliant, brilliant driver and arguably the best in the sport that we have at the moment, and absolutely deserves all the credit in the world for how good he is and what he's done with the Red Bull. You only have to look at what he's done to the people that have tried to be his teammate to see just how difficult it is to keep up with him. And you can go into different reasons why that is and how much the team Red Bull was focused around him. But the counter argument to that is that he's driven the team Red Bull to put everything behind him because of how good he is, right? So you can come at that from different perspectives. But on the whole, I think he gets a ton of credit for how good he is in Formula One. So yes, you then have to look at, does he get enough credit for being a two-time world champion from the fans? I think the argument there is, he's going to think no, because I think the general viewpoint from the fan base, other than Max fans, other than Red Bull fans, is that he shouldn't be a two-time world champion. I think there is a huge asterisk against his 2021 title, and I think there is a small asterisk now in terms of the cost cap and in terms of how you've approached that. Obviously, you know, we are aware of the tax discussion, the fact that it would have only been about $400,000 or pounds over the cost cap in the end had they submitted a tax form correctly. That's enough for a small upgrade on the car. Would it have been enough for it to change what happened in this season's championship? No, probably not. Or last season's championship, again, probably not. I think, again, Lewis should have won the 21 title anyway. You know, you only had to follow the rules for that to happen. So it doesn't really matter whether it changed it a small amount, because Lewis should be the world champion from last season anyway. And whether or not that upgrade would have happened, that would still be the case. You know, it would only have benefited Lewis more. So Lewis, as everybody really knows, had the rules been followed, I don't care if you're a Lewis fan or a Max fan or Ferrari fan, Lewis should be the world championship, should have won the world championship from last year. So the issue then, of course, goes into how much has it benefited them, that overspend into 2022. nowhere near enough to make any difference to how this season's gone, right? So would they have legitimately won the titles this season? Absolutely. Is Max Verstappen a legitimate one-time world champion in Formula One? Yes, absolutely. And his talent deserves that. He's fantastic. But, as we know in Formula One, talent doesn't win championships. A mixture of talent and the car does. And he's lucky enough, of course, to be driving an Adrian Newey fantastically designed car this year that has given him his second world championship, but I think in the eyes of many fans, his first, because it's hard to argue that there is no asterisk against his 2021 title. So for me, he's a deserving world champion. He's clearly got the talent. He's clearly someone that's going to be around for a while, and he's going to be fighting at the front for as long as they give him a car to do so. And as I say, arguably the best driver in the sport right now. But you can see why fans have questioned what's happened over the last 2 years, and that's not in a way to disrespect the talent that he has. It's just an acknowledgement of fact that if the rules were applied correctly, he'd only be a one-time world champion. So I think from the fans' point of view, there are absolutely issues and discussions that people still want to have. We do have to move on. We just have to, unfortunately, it is what it is. But Max will have more opportunities to win multiple world championships, at least if things carry on as the way that they are. And if he goes on to win 3, 4, 5, it won't matter that there was an asterisk against the 21 title, because he will have proven himself beyond a shadow of a doubt as a multiple-time world champion. And then it will just be put down to, what difference does one make when Lewis has won 7 and Max has won however many, right? It won't matter anymore. When it's his only world championship, it definitely mattered, right? Huge asterisks against it. But we move into the territory now where he'll go on, he'll win more, and it won't be an issue anymore. People will move on from it. But he needs to be able to separate people talking about that 21 title win from them not respecting him as a driver, because they're two separate things. He had no input on the decisions made in 21. He is a fantastic driver. He is a deserving world champion based on his talent, and he's proven that this year in the 2022 title. So let's move on from it. But yeah, absolutely, from my perspective, from fans on the whole, and I'm sorry that he has to put up with a vocal majority who are apparently giving him a lot of abuse. That shouldn't be happening. But I think from F1 fans on the whole, absolutely, he gets the respect that he deserves as a driver in Formula One. Just not necessarily as a multi-time world champion because of what happened in 2021. Then we move on to the media, and look, I'm obviously mostly exposed to the UK coverage of Max, but as far as I'm concerned, he has been forced down everyone's throat as the next coming, as a future world champion, and heralded. Obviously by Red Bull, but by the media in general, since he broke into F1. Have we ever really heard arguments about whether it should have been Carlos Sainz, not Max Verstappen, promoted into the main Red Bull team? No. And there definitely was an argument to be had there that Carlos Sainz was at the time the better of the two drivers. There's definitely an argument to be had that he was made that number one driver too soon, when it was him versus Daniel Ricciardo. Ricciardo knew that the team was shifting over to fully backing Max Verstappen for the future, and that's why Daniel Ricciardo left the team. He knew he wouldn't be able to win a title there while Max Verstappen was driving for Red Bull, and there's definitely an argument to say that happened too soon. At the time they did it, he hadn't proven himself to be better long-term than Daniel Ricciardo. Now, obviously, in hindsight, we know they made the right decision, but at the time, there was still a question to be had. But they went with Max Verstappen, and they clearly knew what's right. So fair enough, it's their decision, and it's turned out to be the right one. So well done them. But did the media question it? Did the media really drive a debate around, are they doing the right thing? Is Max Verstappen proven? No, I didn't see it. Maybe I'm misremembering, but I certainly didn't see anything to suggest that the media were not getting behind Max Verstappen. He was absolutely seen as the next big thing in the UK media. And of course, I don't see the German and the stuff from Germany and Italy and other countries and the way they report on this. But I personally, in the exposure that I had, has always been Max has been looked on as a massive talent. And I haven't seen anything to question that. The only time from the media's perspective where anything has been questioned has been from the 2021 season and the way that it was won. I haven't seen anything to question his ability as a driver, the way that he's come into Formula One, decisions that have been made in his career progression, the way that he's been pushed by Red Bull. I haven't seen anything negative by the media around Max Verstappen. Only the questioning of how he won the 21 championship, which is not his fault. So I don't get it. I don't understand why, from that perspective, he feels disrespected by the media. If you are aware of any quotes, anything where they've been specifically derogatory about Max Verstappen as a driver, please let me know in the comments below. Share the quotes with me, share the links, because I want to see it. Because personally, all I've seen is them questioning the way the 21 championship decision was made. And I don't see that as disrespectful to Max Verstappen. I don't see that as questioning his ability as a driver. I don't see that as in any way derogatory to Max Verstappen. I just don't. I see it as reading the facts as they are, and as making a decision and expressing an opinion from the people that have said it on Sky. And it is they do programming based on decisions, and we've heard plenty of pundits on there disagree with each other when talking about F1, not just about Max. And I like it that way. We don't want to see programming where everyone's told what opinion they have to have before going into it, or telling me that as a sport we're not allowed to have opinions on what's happened, because that's not right. Yeah, this is why fan content's become such a big thing in the most recent years, because we got so sick of being plugged the same agenda-driven information by mainstream media. And to be fair to Sky F1, with all the different pundits they have, the former drivers, everyone that's on there, they do seem pretty comfortable because there's that mixture of opinions in saying what they think. But I have never heard any bad words said about Max. I've only heard questioning about the way the 21 championship was decided. So again, from the media perspective, do I think he needs more respect from the media? No, I don't. I think he's given plenty of respect. I think they've held him up on the pedestal that he's wanted since the day he's arrived in Formula One, and I don't see any reason or anything that they need to change to give him more respect in Formula One. I just don't see what needs to happen. Again, if you disagree with me, let me know. But I haven't seen any comments made by Sky or any other outlet that are negative about Max Verstappen, the driver. So, look, if he feels that questioning the 21 title was disrespectful, that's fine. But to me, again, it's just naive. It's he needs to be more aware of the fact and more understanding of the fact that it was wrong, that wrong decisions were made, and he benefited from them. And whether he likes it or not, that's just the situation he's in, and he's got to live with that. And the only way, the best way for him to get everyone moving past it, is to go and win multiple world championships that make one title basically redundant in the conversation. Then we move to the paddock, and honestly, all the drivers, we've had Alonso, we've had Fittipaldi, they back him. We had Alonso saying that his 2 world championships mean more than all of Lewis's. And I first of all think that I absolutely love Fernando Alonso, but that's one of the most ridiculous statements I've ever heard in my life. There's a huge asterisk against Max's 21 title, and there was, an asterisk against the 22 title. But as I say, they would have won it anyway, even with the spend that they've had, because of how good the Red Bull has been this season. We've seen how dominant it is, and any additional spend wasn't going to make any difference to that, right? So he's legitimately our world champion for 2022. He just is, and we have to accept that. And he is absolutely deserving of it based on his talent. So again, no abuse there, no derogatory information there at all. But from the drivers, again, we've got Alonso making ridiculous statements saying that he's basically done more in 2 years than what Lewis has achieved in the 7, or whatever he wants to say about that. Fittipaldi again coming out and support of Max Verstappen. I don't think it's needed. I don't think anyone's out there to get Max Verstappen, but they feel that they need to anyway. And they're coming out supporting him and saying, what he's done in the sport's been absolutely incredible. And it has been. He absolutely deserves credit and respect for what he's achieved in the sport and for how good he is as a driver. But he doesn't need protection from the media because no one's out to get him. And I just don't think he's responding to this. I don't think Red Bull are responding to any of this in the right way. I don't think Sky bending over backwards to go and basically I'm assuming, grovel and apologize for something that they haven't done wrong is better either, because they're going to kind of then go into situations where they're really questioning what they say. And I don't want to see people like Ted or Martin or Crofty or whoever feel like they're having to question what they're saying just in case they upset anybody, because no one wants that. Everyone wants to hear genuine, honest opinion about what they think in the world of F1. And it is the way it is. I don't, as I say, the paddock are definitely on Max's side. They give him a ton of respect. The former world champions coming out in defense of Max, even though it's not needed. So definitely he gets a ton of respect from the drivers on the grid. We've had loads of drivers, even before all of this, come out and say how good Max Verstappen is. And I think in general, the F1 drivers are really good at respecting each other. I think even from Mercedes, Toto Wolff, they respect Max as a driver, no question about it. They think he's absolutely phenomenal. They obviously don't like losing to him, but their issues have always been about rules being followed, and no different to what Christian Horner would do in terms of if he was on the shoe was on the other foot, he'd be going through the same issues, trying to argue the same problems. What the hell are you doing? You're not following the rules. Christian Horner would be doing the exact same thing. So you can't throw stones at Toto Wolff and Mercedes for arguing the case and trying to get decisions made in the right way, when we all know that, first of all of the team owners would do it if they were in the same situation, but definitely Christian Horner would be the first one to be doing exactly the same things that Toto Wolff does, because they are all out to defend their team, get the best result for their team, and it's just the way it is, and it's the way it should be. So that's absolutely fine. But in summary, does Max Verstappen receive enough credit and respect for what he's done in the sport? I think the answer is yes. I think the only thing that anyone's ever questioned is his 2021 title win and the issue with the cost cap, which again has nothing to do with Max. He's just driving the car. So really it's his 21 title win. That's the main issue. And that isn't about him. That's about the FIA, that's about Formula One, that was about Michael Massey, that was about Red Bull coercing what looked like the FIA and Michael Massey and the decisions they were making. It was never about Max, it was never about him, and the fact that he's making it about him just comes across as arrogant, in my opinion. You may not like that, but to me it does. And I think it comes across as naive, and hopefully this is, soon it'll all be, water under the bridge, and we don't have to worry about it anymore. We'll go into the next seasons, we'll have competitive years, we'll have close racing again, and we'll just move on and forget about what's happened in the 21 season and the cost cap issues we've had this year. Though Red Bull, of course, suggesting they think 6 teams are going to break the cost cap this year due to increased energy costs and other inflation costs in the world, although they're saying that they are not in danger of that. So I don't know how they've managed that, considering everyone is of course going to be inflicted by the additional energy cost. They're saying that they've already had things in place, but we'll see how that plays out when the next year's cost cap investigations happen and how many teams are over the budget, because that'll be an interesting thing to cover, and of course we will be covering it on here next year. But as I say, in summary, I do think he gets enough respect in the sport. I think he gets respect from the drivers, I think he has a ton of respect from the fans, and I think he gets a ton of respect from the media, and he's been backed ever since he came into the sport. So how he's feeling disrespected is beyond me. I think he's clearly spending too much time listening to the negatives, looking at the abuse, and listening to that vocal minority on the world of social media, who he shouldn't be listening to. They are not the majority. They are not the people to listen to. They are, as he said, keyboard warriors who are just out to cause mayhem and just out to cause upset. That's all they want to do, and they're going to say what it takes to upset him. So I know it's difficult, and I know that they shouldn't be doing it, and I know they should be banned, and whatever they're saying, social media platforms need to do more to stop those people being able to write the things that they do. But from Max's perspective, get the right people around him, try his best to ignore those comments, focus on the majority, focus on all the people that do give him respect, acknowledge that rules weren't followed correctly in 21, and help everybody move on by just going, look, we can't do anything about it now, all I did was drive the car, and I think I've proven this year I'm a deserving world champion. I'm now a 2-time F1 champion. Let's move on, and we'll get into next season. We'll get into the following years, and I'm going to win even more titles. And let's hope for closer racing. I want to fight Lewis again. I want to be fighting the Ferraris. Let's go. and just focus on the future, because that's all we can all any of us can do now in F1 is focus on the future. But that's my take on it anyway. As far as I'm concerned, he's had enough respect from all parties, and I just don't understand, other than the social media issues, which need looking at under a completely separate light, because it doesn't reflect F1 fans as a whole, or the media, or his support from the paddock in general. Other than that, he's had more than enough respect, and as far as I can tell, he's got nothing to complain about. But that's my take on it anyway. I want to know your thoughts in the comments below. Do you think Max gets enough credit from the fans, from the media, from the F1 paddock in the world of F1? Does he get enough respect in the world of Formula 1? Let me know in the comments below. If you are new around here, please make sure to subscribe on the bottom right hand side, and hit a like on the video if you did enjoy it. Once we get to 1,000 subscribers, we will be going to live shows, so let's get there as quickly as we can. So please make sure you hit that subscribe button. Otherwise, just want to thank you so much for watching. Hope you have a great day. Goodbye.